Here's my campsite. I'm doing a bit of car camping the next 3 nights in the old trusty Dodge minivan. This is a 2012 Grand Caravan. And first off, what I think you'll find interesting is how to get ventilation in one of these. So I found these roadie things on Amazon here in Canada. As you can see, it's kind of like a tent material, and literally it's like an elastic cord that goes around the whole thing. It takes maybe 2 minutes, if that, to put the thing on. You open the door, put it around. There's a little like the sort of tent pole type thing that you just put in to put this out. There's another one you can put here if you need to make it rigid, and then you can always do a tie down to a stake if it was in high winds, but it doesn't come with that. And then you have a fly mesh. If it's raining, whatever, you can put that up as much as you want. So the car window is actually down right now, so it gives you a lot of ventilation. I have 2 of them. You can probably see it through there. There's one on the other side. They're about $50 each. I think that's a great expenditure to get a car camp a little bit more comfortably. Let's take a look inside. I need to unlock it. Rookie mistake. It slides. Now this is, I've just arrived, so nothing's made. I'll give you a quick idea. So I've just pulled the front seat forward, little cooler with food, nothing in there needs to be cold. And underneath, I'll show you a little later, we've got these kind of floor panels that pop up, and normally the seat could go into it, but here I've put my electronics and other things I prefer to have hidden away. And then here I'm just using a blow up sleeping mat which goes the whole way, and I got kitchen supplies and pots and pans and whatnot there, camp stove at the back, and this thing here in the blue bag is my kayak, which we will show you tomorrow. And then I have some kind of screens I can put up around here in the front to help block some of the light. So this will be home sweet home for 3 nights. Okay, well, let's take a look what's now in that secret smuggler's hold. So there's a little clip here. And so then in there I got my Jackery little portable electric battery. And then there's my electronics, like my laptop, my reading book, GoPro, and a few other odds and ends like that. Just kind of hidden out the way, particularly if you're parked up somewhere, you know. So here is the reservoir, Brazeau Reservoir. I'm camping maybe a 5-minute walk from here. Looks like lots of cool little outcroppings like jutting out into the lake. Maybe an island or 2, I don't know. I'll be out there tomorrow on the kayak to take a look, go exploring a bit. I have to say, I am pretty excited. I'm just coming down this little trail literally from the campsite. I'm about 20 feet from the camp table, and there's all these little mushrooms here lining the road. I have no idea if they're safe to eat, probably not. But what's really kind of cool is you hear, look at that big, huge, whether it's safe or not, it's kind of cool. That is like a picture perfect fairy toadstool, I think. I do have a book on mushrooms, but I didn't think to bring it with me, and I am not in any way knowledgeable enough to risk it. So there's a few more, but I'm going to have to think about that in the future, because that'd be kind of neat to know which ones might be safe and edible and foraging some wild mushrooms, but definitely not something you want to mess about with. Oh wow, look at that, right there on the tree. Even more. Those are cool. I wonder what they are. Oh, I wish I brought that book. Oh well, never mind. Next time. Oh, they go all the way up. You can kind of see the tree all the way up. Just see little ones popping out. And a couple of big ones up there. That's so cool. So, you know, the reason I came out here was there were several. One of them was I wanted to do car camping. I've not done it before. Pretty sure that's a true statement. If I have, it would have been when I was much younger and I don't remember. We've used the van many times to pull our little A-frame pop-up kind of camper trailer, and some of the family have slept in the back of it, but I haven't. And I just kind of always been had it in my head that the idea of living in a van and all that would be kind of fun. I've got no intention of living in a van anytime soon. I'm sure Amy is glad to hear that. But I do like the idea of kind of in a camper van, so to speak. And so that was one of the reasons I wanted to come out and do that. The other reason is sometimes you find it's just nice to be on your own. I enjoy it anyway. You don't have to, so to speak, think of anybody else's needs. And as much as all of us enjoy our family, spending time with our friends and so forth, I guess depending on your personality, mine is such that I do like that kind of ability to just tune out, do my own thing at my own time. I think it's good for people. But it's interesting because it's kind of like when you go on a vacation, regardless of whether it's on yourself or with others, it takes you a while to kind of get into vacation mode. I'm already here sort of fidgeting around camp, wondering what should I do next? Maybe I need to do something. It's kind of that weird, where it takes just a little bit of time to sort of wind down, settle into the quiet. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Just an observation I thought I'd share. So although I've used the Firebox Stove for the alcohol burner I had in it in my last videos, I'm now going to use it for its real purpose, an actual fire. So I'm starting to build up a little twig fire in there. See how this goes in a minute. Everything's kind of damp this morning. Well, I got some dry wood I brought from home. I'm probably just not doing this very well, but that's why we practice, right? that too tight. Something makes me think this is going to take me a little while. Good job I'm not in a hurry for my coffee. Sometimes you just got to start again. So I'm going to try building this a little different. I don't think I had enough easy to light stuff on the bottom. So let's try this. Kind of curls. Hopefully it'll catch a little better. A few more are made up here. Okay. Now I'm going to try lighting this and putting it in there. There we go. Fingers crossed. It's all on how you started, I guess. Just give that a bit. I'll probably regret saying this, but I think I nailed it that time around. So there's the first tip. Make some of those shavings. Definitely helps. Okay, time to get the water on for some coffee and more porridge. So we'll see how this goes. I probably didn't need that plate at all. The kettle's big enough that it would have sat on there, but that's all right. There's these holes on two sides that you can just feed your sticks through to keep it going while there's stuff on top. It's kind of cool. So this, I believe, from some of the videos I've watched, is what they would consider the first burn of your stove. Now, I don't know with mine if that's entirely true, because I use the transient alcohol stoves. I don't know if that's a technicality or not, but for today, I'm going to say this is the first burn using wood. And after that little learning curve on getting the fire going, I like it. I like it a lot, in fact. And it is about 9:25 on my watch, so although I'm probably not going to film the whole thing, I'll let you know how long it takes for the water to hit a kind of a boil when we get to that point. Not sure if the camera is picking up the sound, but the kettle is getting close to boiling, I think. And we're at 10 minutes in now. And bear in mind, this kettle is about half full, so it's up to kind of about that mark. So there's a fair amount of water in it. I think we're talking about 750 mils, maybe a litre of water is in there right now. Okay, it's now 9:40, so that was 14 minutes. I don't doubt that someone who knows what they're doing with a fire could get a few minutes quicker than that, but it is just about hitting the boiling point, which is where I want it. Oh. Time for my first cup of coffee. And while that's doing that, I'll get the quick oats going. And then I'm hoping that'll be warm enough. Keep nice and warm for my second cup of coffee. Cheers. That's good. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes since I had that first lovely steaming hot cup of coffee, and I've just left the kettle for a little while. It was just down on the side, like that, just some of that radiant heat was getting it, and then once the flames had died down, I've just left it up on top above the coals, I guess, and there's still some warmth. So let's see if it retained enough heat to make a half decent cup of coffee. So it's not leaving that kind of nice sort of white foam, which I know usually means it's just the right temperature for me, but oh yeah, that's warm. That'd burn you. It is perfectly good for a second cup of coffee if you didn't want to keep it all hot. and topped up with wood. So that's good. Okay, second cup of, whoops, breaking things already. Second cup of coffee down, or halfway through. I thought I'd share with you how my morning went. So I woke up this morning and I was not feeling it, which is interesting because I was super excited to come here and do all of this. But for whatever reason, I woke up this morning and my motivation was gone. Couldn't tell you why. I mean, I woke up several times during the night, temperature changes, you have to put on different layers of clothing, there was a thunderstorm, but in and of itself I'm used to that, whether it be in a tent or the trailer. But maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know. But either way, I had big plans. I was going to take my kayak, I was going to go out on the lake, I was going to do the firebox for my coffee and breakfast. All that was in my mind when I went to sleep last night. But this morning, nope. I was kind of looking at my kayak, probably because it had been raining, and I was thinking in my mind a bit disappointed, like, oh, it's cloudy, although it's starting to clear up. Everything's wet and dirty. Sounds odd, we're camping. But that's just what was going through my mind. And my kayak is a fold-out kind of blow-up one, so it's not just a case of pulling the thing out. So there were a lot of these sort of weird little barriers creeping up in my mind. And the firebox to make my coffee and breakfast, everything's damp, although again I had dry wood that I brought with me. All these silly little arguments and objections running through my head, and I couldn't tell you why this was happening. And so I started to pull out the propane stove. I'm just going to do it the easy way. But then I just stopped and took a breath. I just sat down and I sort of just listened to things and listened to the wind and the birds and all the rest of it. And then something just started to shift. And so I went back in, I started staring at the little package that my firebox is in. I just sort of stared at it for a few minutes, I just grabbed it. I just started to set it up. And as I started to set it up, things internally were shifting. And again, I don't know how this works or why it works or the processes involved, but just by taking a pause, just by not reacting too quickly and immediately going to the stove, setting it up, the propane one, and beginning my coffee, I'd brought it out, but then I just paused, as I said. I think it allowed a little level set to begin. And so by the time I'd got the firebox set up and I pulled out the camera to kind of show you guys what I was getting up to, if you will, my mood was starting to change. Like, I wasn't feeling unhappy earlier, just motivation-wise, it was all gone. But it's kind of been coming back. And I've been thinking about it and going, you know, I'm actually not sure I'm in the mood to kayak today. Maybe tomorrow. Or maybe later on this afternoon. But what I do want to do is go for a swim. I've been doing that a little bit in our own lake at home, and I've been really enjoying it, which is odd because half the time getting into swimming is not my thing, so to speak. But as time's gone on, as the years go by, I'm beginning to see this sort of pattern of sometimes it's not about what your thing is, in my case, my thing. I think sometimes I don't know what that thing might be from one day to the next. And that's okay. Why not just go with the flow? Whatever your body or your mind or your heart or spirit, whatever that thing inside of you, saying that's what you should do today. Maybe that's what you should do today. So I haven't completely discounted kayaking, but I think my first real contact with the water today is going to be a swim. Looks like a beautiful piece of water, and when I put my hand in it last night to sort of just test the temperature, it was quite nice. So that's what I'm going to do. And if I end up kayaking at all, great. If I don't mind. I don't feel the need to be sort of stuck on completing that objective that I'd initially set out. Part of coming out to places like this is just to be with yourself, let your mind do its thing, and see where that takes you. So I'm super happy that I made my coffee and breakfast with the firebox. That
actually lifted me quite a bit, and so now I'm looking forward to hopping in that water once I'm done here, and we'll see where the day takes you. So hopefully that helps you when you're maybe struggling with lack of motivation or something's pulling you down. Maybe if possible, just take a few minutes, take a pause, start doing something and just see where it takes you. Okay.
So I was talking to the site manager yesterday, and he'd seen me running around the camp, and he said I might enjoy coming down here. So this is about a 4-kilometer walk, run, however you choose to do it. And at the other end is another campground. He says you get really kind of neat views as you go. So this is the, I guess, canal that they let the water through from back there in the reservoir. And at the other end, past apparently the campground, is where the kind of the power generation site is that this water would feed. So I decided I would come today. Just going to walk it myself, spend a leisurely couple hours, I suppose, and just see what I see. Well, I made it down to the West Canal campground entrance, and from my campsite to here was 5.5 kilometers. So let's go take a look around, see what's here. Maybe this will be a new campsite in the future to come and visit. So it looks like this would be more of a tent-only place. Beautiful spots. Right, that would be quite the beautiful view to wake up every morning. You imagine your tent was right there, and that's what you looked up to. So this one, if you're wondering, is A57, if you're ever looking to book it. although not identical. There's a lot more taller trees around, but in general that scenery reminds me a lot of a place I went to years ago called Cree Lake up in northern Saskatchewan. I think I've still got the footage, so maybe actually I will assemble that and put it together for the channel. Give you an idea of what it looked like. So I'm almost back at the campsite. You can see what I was initially videoing, that sort of canal channel there. Nothing in it right now. So we're on round 2 with the firebox. Lunchtime after that nice walk. Gonna have some baked beans and the quinoa rice mix. First, we got to get this properly going. So far, so good. Okay, so I've got some coals going now. I'm going to add that top plate. I'm going to put that on. Oops, sorry. Go. I use this pot. Now, I'm not sure about these kind of rubberized handles. They may start melting because the heat's a little bit more around than the Trangia was. So I'll keep an eye on that. What I'm going to do is pour in a can of baked beans, let that heat, and then just use that to heat that. So give me a minute while I can open that thing up, and we'll go from there. And I may have to add some more wood as we go. We'll see. Okay, so we got the beans in there. I'm going to pop it up on top. And we'll see how long that takes to get to a nice temperature. Some 7 minutes past 2 o'clock right now. So as you can probably see, I did just throw another little stick in there just to kind of give it a little bit more direct heat. Honestly not sure if it's better or worse that way. Okay, so we are 6 minutes in, and there's a lot of heat on this plate. Like if I touch it, I realize it, but I'm not, and it's definitely starting to heat this up, but as you can see, I'm holding it, and this is titanium, so it holds heat differently apparently, but the coals by themselves are not quite doing it. And there are trays. What I could do is put the fire sticks in, bring a tray higher to bring the coals closer. There's all sorts of things I could do, but I'm just trying to play around with it as it is. Because another thing I'll have to think about in the future is bringing some like little tongs, so that way I could manipulate all this stuff. I do not have that with me now, so I'm just going to go back to throwing in a few sticks. These are a little big for the hole, that's my fault, but up here plenty of room. Let's see if we can get those going with those coals.
I'm not having a lot of luck with that, am I? Okay, bear with me. Okay, I'll just cut down some smaller bits. Maybe that'll help. I am no expert. Oh dear. That's alright. Live and learn, right? We'll figure it out. I may have no choice but to kind of disassemble that a little bit. Okay. Okay, so I had to relight it with my lighter. I guess I didn't realise just looking through the sides, but what I thought were coals, yeah, there are some, but it's mostly dust. So there really wasn't enough to keep the heat going. So there's another lesson. When you're trying to cook on here, you need to have a little bit more continual feeding, I suppose. So that's right, looks like I'm going to have to stop videoing for a bit and really just get this back up and running. Okay, got it back up and going nicely, got the pot right on there. We'll try again. So now it is 2:20. So when you're a novice, it ain't the fastest thing. But that's because I'm a novice and I don't really know what I'm doing. But it's fun. As you can see, it's bubbling up real fast. That's like within 2 minutes. So go Firebox. So they're bubbling nicely, and I've tried them and they're nice and warm. And that is 225. So that was pretty quick with the kind of the flames dancing around nicely. As you can see, I've actually moved it off to the side a bit because I didn't want those handles to melt. Now I'm going to pour in my grains. There we go. Should really get a tripod for all this, shouldn't I? And I'll just give it a good stir. And give that a few minutes to warm through the rice as well. This is a fun way to cook. Or maybe cook's an exaggeration with what I just done. Reheat a few things. But I imagine I'm going to try cooking a few things from scratch on this over time. So you can kind of see how the colour's been changing on the metal since I've been using the actual fire. I quite like it. It's neat. Just letting the coals now, they're just dying down. And then over here, I'm just going to eat straight out of the pot. There it is. Lovely jubbly. And so one final thing that might be of interest to you if you are considering something like this is what I got started. I'll have to check the other videos. I think it was 5 or 7 minutes past 2, something like that. And several attempts at keeping the fire going, and then I cooked reheated my lunch. I've eaten it. It's now 2:45. And after I had decided to eat my lunch, I actually then decided to disassemble it. I tapped all the coals into the big fire pit here and gave them a little douse. But now, as you can see, everything is totally cool to the touch. So, alright, 15 minutes maybe to cool down from a cooking temperature. So I think that's pretty good. You can cook, you can eat, and so long as you've kind of taken the coals out or doused them, it would be ready to pack away relatively quickly.
and bear in mind this is the steel one, which I believe retains heat longer than the titanium option they have would. But yeah, I'm really quite pleased with it. It's nice, it's compact, super easy to deal with. That goes down and it folds away, right? I think it's awesome. Yeah, maybe go check them out. See what you think. Firebox.